Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the 2025 Wayne State Football Positional Previews. I'm Brady Beedon, and I'm joined today by new Wayne State Offensive Coordinator J.C. McDonald. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. First question for you is, just tell us how you got to Wayne State, what that journey was like to come here with Coach Wheatley's staff.
Well, first off, thanks for having me. I actually interviewed with Coach Wheatley at Morgan State. So I met him 2 years ago. Fortunately for him, unfortunately for me, he got a job with Denver Broncos shortly after that. So I got, we had a staff change, so that kind of had to change my direction.
Right.
But excited to be back here with him. I think he does a great job. And just, he also brings a whole lot of knowledge to the table from the places he's been, and I think the guys he's worked for, the places he's played, the guys he's coached. So it's one of the first guys in my career that I feel like I've had the opportunity to learn from.
So let's talk about some of the guys you're going to inherit. I mean, last couple of years, been a lot of different guys under center. Champion Edwards has been one of the names we've said the most. A very dynamic player, I think, is a good way to describe him. At any second, he can break something off big. What can you tell me about Champion? I know he led the team in passing, led the team in rushing last year. It was the first time in basically 50 years that it happened. What have you seen with Champion so far?
Champion's growing. He did a good job in the spring of reads, progressions, learning the offense, and trying to play within the system and trying to be a quarterback more than just an athlete. But there's no doubt he's electrifying.
So the other guy you have coming back is a guy that I feel like I've only gotten the free trial of him in Justin Cox, because when I've seen him, I've liked what I've seen. It's just poor kid can't stay healthy. Tell me about Justin Cox and why he's had a little bit of success early in his career.
Justin has a very high football IQ. He's a guy that's going to come in, do the extra work. He's one of the guys you got to kick out of your office. All right, Justin, you got to go home. I got stuff I got to do. Okay, but he's, as far as football knowledge goes, one of the top in the room. It's with Justin, he needs to improve his accuracy a little bit. And just making sure he's using the right mechanics to make his throws.
So you got those two guys back, but in this day of college football, you're always going to have new guys coming in, whether that be freshmen or transfers. Let's start with the transfers, because you have some guys that have played some college football coming in. Tell me about the three guys coming in through the portal.
Well, you have Carson Crehan, Tajay Malone, and Braden Seary. Carson's another guy with a really high football IQ. Comes from a family of coaches. I actually coached against his grandfather.
Oh, wow.
At one point in time. Dad's now a coach in Alabama. Wants to do the right thing. Found his own way to be here this summer. Him and Braden both did that, where they're trying to, they knew how important it was to get here, knew how important it is to be, a leader, to have a leader mentality and to be forefront during the workouts and those kind of things. So he's done a great job with that. Again, very intelligent, very high football IQ. Tadre is kind of the wild card of the group. Was on the team 2 years at Grambling. In junior college, he had a 300-yard game against one of the Texas junior colleges that was one of the top 5 teams in the nation that year. So definitely has the ability to flash. Now it's a matter of if he can do it consistently. But since he's been here, I've seen a lot of improvement in his mechanics and him trying to change things and do things the way that we want them done. Braden, I believe, has probably more wins than anybody in the room. I think they went 10-1 one year in the junior college system. High completion percentage guy, just like Carson is. Probably has the livest arm of the group. So it's going to be an education camp. I mean, there's a lot of talent and a lot of experience, and only one football to go around.
Exactly. So you've got a lot of veteran guys that have played a lot of football in here. Also have a couple young guys coming in. Just quickly touch on some guys that we might not see this year, but you're going to start to season and marinate maybe for the future.
So we have Dylan Kress, who is a Canadian. So he played at I don't know if it was a prep school or it was called a college or university, but it's not in Canada.
Right.
I'm kind of confused by that, but they played 5 games in America and 5 games in Canada. So they played 10 games with 2 different sets of rules.
That's not easy to do.
So again, another high IQ guy. Dylan coming in knows, he kind of knows that has some time to mature, and he's good with that, which is one of the things that really appealed to me about him, because I don't think he's going to be a guy that, you know, the day of the vine where you're 6 seconds and gone.
Right.
You know, so I think he's a guy that wants to be here, values the education here, and I see him as a career guy that eventually could be the guy here.
Awesome. So we've talked a lot about the players you have. Let's talk about you for a second. I mean, new guy in charge of the offense. That's one thing everyone always gets curious about, is what is the offense going to look like? So for all the Warriors and Tartars out there, what are they going to see when you kick off in week 1?
Hopefully we see an offense that scores more points than the defense gives up.
That would be ideal. That's a start.
That's always the bottom line, right? But we're balanced. You know, we're multiple formation, multiple personnel. You're going to see the same things with a lot of different window dressing. You know, we try to be a downhill running attack with a high percentage passing game. Try to use the entire field and use tempo to our advantage.
So coming into a spot where you have 2 returning guys that have played a fair bit, as a coach, are you going to show up and say, you know, I have to figure out what these guys' skill sets are, or you show up and go, hey, I've got a system that works. They're going to have to figure out, maybe tweak something in their game to adjust to what I need them to do?
I think it's a little bit of both. You know, you can't try to fit a square peg into a round hole. You know, you got to be flexible enough to make the offense fit your quarterback. You know, you look at Oklahoma. Oklahoma with Jalen Hurts is a totally different offense than Oklahoma with Kyler Murray.
Right.
So, you know, it's based on that kid's skill set. So whoever is the best fit for us, we'll make the offense the best fit for him, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, Coach. I really appreciate it. You got anything else before we send him home and get ready for camp?
No, I'm happy to be here, and thanks for having me.
Coach, I appreciate your time. Thanks for talking with us. He's the new offensive coordinator here at Wayne State, J.C. McDonald. I'm Brady Beedon, and thank you so much for watching another edition of the 2025 Wayne State Football Positional Previews.